Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 15th of February, comes to you from London. And we see quite a lot of green on the screen this morning, so markets getting off to a relatively strong start this week. So we see the dollar index is on the long-term trend still falling. Remember, it's my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart, my long-term, medium-term, and short-term view of the market with the corresponding point and figure view with price targets. So we see the dollar having just steadied, is starting to head lower again. So we're holding that support level at around 90, but the key thing is we are bearish on all three time frames. That means the euro is looking stronger against the dollar at 121, nudging new highs. So euro strength, dollar weakness. There was the consolidation pattern. We've run up, we're consolidating again, but the trend is very much up on all three time frames. The Japanese yen is sitting at 105 against that weaker dollar. So we're seeing that's quite interesting there, that the dollar is actually holding its strength against the yen. So we're seeing the yen just falling. Against sterling, we're sitting at just knocking on the door of 139 against the US dollar. So that's really showing sterling strength. And if we look at sterling against the euro, we see here again we're making levels we haven't seen for a year, starting to wander out into this bullish zone for sterling. 114.60, we had a target 113.87, that's smashed. Another one at 116.86, so a further 2% higher. Sterling just gaining strength all the time there. Bitcoin sitting steady at $47,000, holding on to the gains that we saw since the Tesla news, but really interesting that we are still bullish on all three time frames, and we did last week activate this massive target to $107. Looking, and that's a long-term target, of course. We won't go there in a straight line, and a lot can happen in between. Looking at the S&P 500 index, we ended up stronger on Friday, looking bullish still on all three time frames with good upside targets. This will ultimately become a target when this column locks, so that will be interesting as well. And if you look at the Nasdaq, we see we're bullish here as well. Futures looking stronger today. We've got the S&P mini up 0.4%, the Nasdaq up 0.25%. Does tell us that the US market will open higher. The VIX volatility sitting steady at this 22 level, and we've really been there all week. So markets taking everything in the stride. Nothing to worry about on the fear index at the moment. The FTSE future up 1.5%, so we're seeing the UK market looking stronger this morning. The DAX in Germany, the cash market, up 0.3%, holding on to its multi-year highs. And the CAC Courant we're seeing is up 1%, so that's looking stronger as well. It still has work to do to get to new highs, but it's looking strong this morning. Japan had a very good session overnight, sitting at up 1.13%. The Nikkei actually making 30-year highs, so we're going all the way back to the beginning of the 90s, where the Nikkei was at its highest. We had fallen, for anyone who can remember, we'd fallen off a cliff in the late 80s for the Nikkei. And it's taken 30 years to get back to those levels, and we've still got further to go to make all-time highs. The Chinese markets, the Hang Seng and China closed overnight for the Chinese New Year. Same for the Shanghai market. So no new information there. We're seeing on the Sensex in India we're up 1%. Continues to look very strong indeed. We have got an upside target, some 72% higher. Hard to believe, but that's what the targets say. Looking at the Aussie market, we're up nearly 1% there, so that's looking strong. Still has work to do to get to new highs. And if we take a look at some of the commodities, we've got gold sitting at 18.17, so just looking weaker there. Still medium and short-term bearish, long-term bullish, so a little bit of a conflicting picture there. And the same with silver. We are actually looking better with silver above the cloud on both the shorter term and medium term charts. So we have got some very big targets for silver, some 25% higher, 41% higher. Just need to break that $30 mark really to hold that. US 10-year yields are back above 1.2%. That's really big news from a chart perspective. We're seeing here, we're breaking the cloud on the long-term chart. We are seeing all of these upside targets. US bond yields nudging all the time higher. So this trend is really continuing, so we will see bond yields pushing higher still. And we saw the tech majors were all pretty strong on Friday. Taking a look at the energy mix, we've got crude oil looking stronger. We've got Brent crude, new target to 70, not yet activated on the 60-minute chart. 67.60 on the 1-minute chart. So crude oil just pushing higher all the time. US nat gas, 305 is the level we need to break here. We do have quite a lot of targets on the 60-minute chart, suggesting if we do break 305, we run higher. 327, 3 as high as 308, 327. Those are the levels to look for short term. On the 1-minute chart, 334. Taking a look at coal, that's looking more bearish this morning, down 1%. We put out a report to clients this morning. Generally speaking, we're bullish crude oil, bearish gas, and neutral power. There are some anomalies there, but those are very much the calls for the week. Looking at coal, we're looking lower there. Downside targets to play for. Emissions, having started in negative territory, pushing higher again this morning, you'd be game to bet against emissions at the moment. We might see a short-term move back, but realistically, this chart now looking very bullish indeed. Gas markets have turned a corner, so we're seeing NBP. Really, what's happening now is we're going into the spring season, which tends to be weaker for gas. We're starting to break to new lows. We're seeing that here on the 60-minute chart. This downside target that was given on the end of last week already met. So keep an eye on your OTC data for your 1-minute targets. And the TTF chart is also down some 5% this morning, making new lows. Again, breaking to those seasonal lows. The seasonal low is normally around the end of March. So we are looking now for 5 weeks of pretty bearish moves, I would say. And we're seeing here the same on winter gas. Having broken out, looking quite strong, that's now looking like a double top forming, yet to be as clear as the monthly contracts, but we do have these downside targets, so it's hard to ignore those. German power, we are building a new range here. It's really 53, 50, 51 is the range to watch at the moment. There is a risk that we're hitting, we found support right on the cloud, then finding resistance on the cloud. This is really very interesting how the cloud is playing out here, so that's quite key. Looking at the quarterly contract, that's down 1%. Again, looks like it might be just going off. We're neutral power markets this morning. The one exception that is looking a little bit stronger is Nordic power on the cow, still holding on to its bullish trend on the 60-minute chart with upside targets. So we're holding our bullish stance there, but the quarterly on the cow not looking as good. We do have a downside target and upside target, so hence we're neutral there. And UK power, we're saying we need to break 55 to be bullish, but for the moment we're in a bit of a range, which is 50-55. Just watch that range. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.